And when they come with a recommendation, you're like, oh, okay. We know that this is about to be no holds bar, good, right? Good stuff. This is going to be some great. Get your pens and your papers, get your notebooks ready because you're going to need it right now. So Anthony L. Padilla is a growth lifestyle specialist and speaker, the creator of the growth lifestyle movement. He works with 15 to 30-year-old high school dropouts, single parents, struggling entrepreneurs, and those who feel lost in this world, which we know is a huge amount of people, teaching them how to live a growth-minded lifestyle so that they can move beyond their past hurt and pain. Anthony believes that happiness, value, and self-worth comes from deep within you. I'm going to repeat that. Anthony believes that happiness, value, and self-worth comes from deep within you. Once you have developed your growth-minded lifestyle, opportunities become abundant. Through one-on-one, online mentoring, and offline as a keynote speaker, Anthony teaches key principles to move you closer to your happiness, your value, and your self-worth to prepare you to live an abundant life. So how many of you are ready to live an abundant life? I want to say thank you so much, Anthony, for saying yes to this opportunity, and I'm going to give you the floor.
Well, I want to start off by saying it's a pleasure. Thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to be here. I want to give a shout out to number one, the World Voice Summit. You guys are absolutely amazing. You guys are doing absolutely phenomenal things. So shout out to you guys. I want to give you guys a shout out to everybody that is here, right here. You guys could be anywhere right now, but you decided to be here today. So really big shout out for that. And I want to give a shout out to, I hope I'm saying this right, Dorothea and I'm sorry, I can't pronounce it, but you guys put something together that it's extremely wonderful and it's life-changing. So shout out to you guys as well. To get started, I want to first talk about the importance of having a paper pad and a pen. And here's why. Because throughout this whole entire summit, I've seen valuable information thrown at us, and we could only take so much in at one time. And if we have a paper pad and a pen, we can write everything down and kind of come back to it. So if you do not have that, I do want to recommend you go get that down, because I'm going to give you 3 principles to taking ownership of your life today. Now, and this is going to take you to the next level. Where I come from, I originally come from Chicago, born and raised in the streets of Chicago. The streets is who raised me. I had a single mom of 6 kids, and the streets was my dad, pretty much. We lived off a $700 disability check, and I just kind of felt as a victim growing up, and I had to be someone that I necessarily did not want to be. Right. So I do ask for 3 things for this moment right here. I ask for you to participate, and I'm going to go ahead and ask you some questions. All right. And as I'm asking these questions, go ahead and think about it. Deep think about it. Write your answers down. It goes right back to the notepad and pen. Write your answers down on the piece of paper, because it's one thing when you have your thoughts in your mind, but when you're able to get it down on scratched paper, it changes everything, because you're able to go back to it, analyze it. You're able to look at it from another perspective, and I want you to share it. A lot of the times we hold a lot of information in our head, and we're scared to share our ideas or whatever it is that we have in our mind, and that kind of holds us back a little bit. Now, the second thing that I want you to do is I want you to take what I'm going to give to you, right? And I want you to run with it. And I say run with it because success is rewarded through action. You could have all the knowledge in the world. You could have read thousands of books, but if you're not implementing, if you're not taking those things and putting it into action, there's no use to it, right? You just completely wasted your time. So I want to encourage you to take what you learn and run with it. Write it down. As I'm talking, the thoughts that come through your mind, write them down. The ideas, write them down. Names, write them down. Nothing is stupid. Everything is a good idea. And the reason why I said write down the names is because I want you to take what you learn and I want you to share it with somebody else. Because when you share with somebody else, you guys collaborate, come up with ideas, talk to each other about it. Okay, so take what you have, what you're gonna learn today, and share it with somebody else, because I am a firm believer on sharing the wealth. That's part of what the growth lifestyle movement is. It's all of us growing together, not just one individual. It's all of us growing together. So if you go ahead and share the wealth, it could take both of you, that individual and you, a very long way. All right. So what I also want you to do is I want you to, I know I said, share, but I also want you to comment below, like things that you want to share. Because you never know who's on this web, who's watching, who's participating. Like they said earlier, a lot of people a lot of opportunities are opening. A lot of people are coming together and creating amazing things. So you never know, there may be something that you share down below that's going to be able to take you to the next level, or someone's be able to give you some feedback on it and help you get to where you want to get. All right, community is everything. The last speaker, she was right. Community is everything, and that's what we're kind of building together right now. Now, my message for you today is, if you are going to give another human being the power of your life, expect to get the results that they have for you. A lot of people, they have this very big vision on, oh, I want these nice cars, I want these nice houses, I want this, I want that. But they are allowing their outcome to be determined by somebody else because they're not taking ownership of their life. And we'll go much more deeper into that throughout my talk. But just, I want you to think about that. All right. Now, I do have one question for you. What does it mean to take ownership of your life? Think about that. What's the first thing that pops to your head? Because normally when the first thing that pops to your head is honestly what you think. So what's the first thing that comes to your head? What does it mean to take ownership of your life? And go ahead and write it down. If we go ahead and just simply Google's a very good person to go to. If we Google what ownership means, it simply says to act, a state, or a right of possessing something. To act, to state, or the right of possessing something. All right, now let's go ahead and break that down from a growth-minded standpoint. When you take the word act, you think of two things: action, which is the process of doing something, or you think about a past tense, an act, which is a thing that has been done. Right? They both are the same meaning, just different time frames. Right? So let's go to right. It is your right and possessing, to take ownership. Now, in the definition, it said of the right of possessing something. What is that something? Something is you. Something is your goals. Something is your life. Something is your dreams. That is something. Okay, so kind of just sum everything up of how we just broke that down. Literally, so to take ownership of your life is to take action of your life, your future, your dreams, and you have that right. You have that right to do so. Okay. So I have 3 principles for you today. These are 3 principles that I handpicked myself, that I felt that you're going to be able to benefit the most from. That these 3 principles that will absolutely change your life if you decide to take action on it. Because, like I said earlier, success is rewarded by action. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you a story. Now, stories are awesome, and stories is one way for us all to learn lessons through. So that's the reason why I'm going to go ahead and pick a particular story throughout my life, and I'm going to share it with you. And then I'm going to give you these 3 principles. Okay? So, like I said before, I'm from Chicago, right? Born and raised. For many years of my life, I lived in a prison. A prison that was designed by the people that I grew up around, but I built myself, brick by brick. Now, have you ever experienced a dark emotional season in your life where you felt, this is where I belong? Where you believe deep down that you did not have the power to move from where life placed you? Where you felt stuck in a small, dark, empty room? Each of the 4 black walls surrounding you, sucking all the light away and leaving you with nothing but darkness. The very little bit of light came from a tiny window that occasionally, whenever you were able to build up enough energy to go peep through that tiny hole, you instantly fell deeper into darkness because everything seemed so perfect on the other side. Now let's go back to when I was growing up in the streets of Chicago. Life was like where I constantly ran into that feeling. So I want you to know, I know exactly what it feels like to be alone in that small, dark, empty room. Sitting there with nobody, people constantly throwing at me, Anthony, you were nothing but a nobody, a gang banger, a prison bait. I even had someone tell me, Anthony, you were nothing but a piece of gum stuck to the bottom of my shoe. Now, everything was thrown at me as if they were a drill sergeant. And being such a young child and hearing such harsh words, I started questioning who Anthony really was. The more I thought of all those negative words, the more each word was carved deeper into my heart. Nobody. Gangbanger. Prison bait. Each word traveled through my thoughts, deep down into my heart, and implanted onto my mind. One day, I stopped questioning and I just began to welcome who they said Anthony was. If I was going to be anything in life, I was going to be the absolute best at it, even if that meant being the worst person I could possibly be. So it began. I began to act as if I was a hardcore game banger. I began to be that nobody. I began to set myself up to end up in prison. And in result, I took myself down a really rough path. a path filled with a lot of suffering. Now, the sad thing about all of this is that they were right. My life reflected exactly who they said I was going to be. Now, being in that dark place in my life, everything from my life, my past began to rise above water. Every word, every action, every memory. At that moment, I remember folding over like a baby. And I received a feeling I would honestly never be able to describe to you, but what I would be able to tell you is that God touched me and he changed my life forever. I instantly started pulling away from the bad environments. I began reflecting on my past experiences and I was coming up with solutions to fix what was broken. Now, history remained history and never repeated itself again. I made the decision that day to take ownership. Let me say it again. I made the decision that day to take ownership of my life. I decided that no human being will ever determine the outcome of my life. So for the last 7 years, I fixed 16 years of bad decisions. I went from feeling depressed, hopeless, and lost to experiencing joy, hope, and having a purpose. Those long, lonely days forever changed my life. And my point is, with this short story, is that if you have been there too, I am pleased to say that you did not stand alone. I am here with you. And I'm sure that there's other people in this community, other people in your personal life, other people that you walk by daily that either is currently or once was in this dark place. Now, it's time to bring out the paper and the pen, because I'm going to give you 3 principles out of many that I have come across that is going to absolutely change your life. Now, these are principles that took me 7 years to find. And you're going to get these principles, these 3 principles, in a matter of minutes. Now, like I mentioned before, success is rewarded by action. If I was, which I am going to, I'm going to give you these principles. Now, if you were going to allow for these principles to just sit there and do nothing with them, you are going to stay where you're at. So I want to challenge you, I want to encourage you to use these principles. Find a way to implement them into your life. Take a step back and look at it from a different perspective and see what it is that you're going through. And say, okay, this is where this principle fits. Because there's people that want to help, but it all starts off with ourselves. Right? If I gain all this knowledge, but I'm not willing to help myself, where is that going to take me? So principle number 1 is I want you to be intentional. Go out there for yourself and make it happen for yourself. Go do it on purpose. Act on it. Taking ownership is doing it for you, on purpose, for yourself, with the reasoning behind it. And it's nothing but action. Okay? Now, before, like let's go back to my story. Before, I wasn't intentional, right? I allowed someone else to determine my outcome. I wasn't going out there and creating my future for myself. I was allowing someone's words, someone's negativity, someone's look, viewpoint of me determine what my outcome was. And where did that take me? That took me down a really rough path, like I said in the story. It took me down a really rough path. A path where I wasn't satisfied, where I suffered, where I went through what I went through. Okay? So let's flip the script. Go out there and you make it happen for yourself. Do it for yourself with action. Everything revolves action. Now, number 2, I want you to stay committed to yourself. A lot of times, this is where people fall. Staying committed to themselves because they want things to happen overnight, right? That we live in a generation where things happen overnight. But this is a really big responsibility. So never give up on yourself. You are a really big responsibility. No matter what it is that you go through, pray and never give up on yourself. Just know if you give up on yourself, that you're just going to end up right back where you don't want to be. So I can't stress it enough. Do not give up on yourself. Stay committed. And this was a really big one for me. Number 3, stop blaming others. A lot of the time, and I hear this a lot, and I once was this person. I always was like, oh, I'm this way because of so-and-so. Or I did this because so-and-so told me to do this. Or I'm acting this way because they talk to me this way. No, stop blaming others. I just find this as an excuse, something that we should all just get rid of. Remember what I said in the very beginning? If you give someone the power of your life, they're gonna determine your outcome. Stop blaming others. Are you allowing someone else's actions, voice, what they view of you, determine your outcome? Are you allowing for it to determine your actions, determine how you feel, what it is that you're going to speak? If you use these 3 that I just released to you right now, your life is going to change. And this is something that is no joke. So do not use this lightly. This is the whole meal. It's not just a grain of salt. This is something that if you implement these 3 principles, you're going to be seeing your life move to the next level. Okay? Because everything, no matter what it is that we do, starts within, deep within, not on the surface, but deep within. So implement this. I want to encourage you, please implement this. This is for you. This is for free. Take advantage of it. Okay? Now, and if you want your life to change, you need to make the decision. Right? The making a decision is something that pushes the action. Right? It's the very beginning. So I know I said I was going to throw 3 principles at you, but I'm just going to throw a bonus out there for you. Okay? The 4th bonus is to decide. I just finished saying to make the decision. Now, the 4th bonus I'm going to throw at you is to make the decision. Right here, right now. This is the number one principle that is going to absolutely change your life. When you decide that you want to change your body, you throw in some action after. When you decide that you want to better your grades, you throw some action on it. When you decide that you want to take a step up in your career, you decide. Everything starts with a decision. Okay? So like I said, I'm going to challenge you right here, right now, to make that decision. You're going to finally know what it feels like to go from experiencing the negative to experiencing the positive. Right? The joy, the hope, the purpose, the love. As the Bible says, the fruit of the Spirit. Okay? And I know that you are ready to live the life that you've always wanted. But in order for you to achieve that goal, you need to decide. Not for me, not for anybody else part of this community, but for yourself. When you decide, life is going to change. I cannot stress this enough. Life is going to begin to change. But it all starts with a decision. So when I made that decision back, let's go back to the story. In that dark, empty room, when I was all alone, I had nobody physically there with me. All I had was myself, folded over like a baby. When I decided, I said, I decide today to take ownership of my life. I decide today to take ownership of my life. Now, I want you to say that with me. But I only want you to say this with me if you are serious, if you're willing to make this commitment to yourself, and if you follow up with some action. Success is rewarded by action. Okay, so I'm going to say it 3 times. And I'm going to have you repeat it with me. Okay, we're simply going to say, I decide 3 times. Okay, so I decide. And I want you to say it with your chest. Say it with some meaning behind it. Say it with some purpose. I decide. Do this for yourself. Make it happen for you. Remember, everything starts within. I decide. Say it with your chest. Say it with some meaning. Say it with a purpose that you are going to make this happen for yourself. Now, for those that actually decided today to take ownership of your life, I want to personally congratulate you. And it's hard for me to congratulate you right here. So I want to encourage you to, at the end, I'm assuming I'm going to go ahead and share my contact information. But I want you to reach out to me. And I want you to say that you were part of this, this wonderful group. And you heard me tonight. And I want to just personally, congratulate you, because this is a big decision that not many people are willing to take. But you just took the initiative and you just decided. So I'm going to bump this up a notch, just because I like to kind of throw people outside of their comfort zone. Because outside of your comfort zone is where things start happening, right? So I want you to go ahead and comment below. I decide 3 times. I decide. And I'm going to start giving shout outs to those people that made the decision today to take ownership of their life. All right, let's see. I decide. I love it. I love it. You're awesome. Please don't be mad at me by the way I pronounce this. I'm just gonna call you by your last name. Congratulations to Miss Pelzer. Absolutely amazing. You just made a decision that is going to change your life. Miss Robbins, congratulations. You guys are absolutely awesome. This is going to change your life, I promise you, by simply making this decision for taking ownership of your life. Now, if you are watching this on a replay and you comment, I decide, I will be watching. I'll be keeping an eye out for this. Okay. And I'm still going to reach out to you. I'm going to congratulate you. But when you take it from your mind out onto paper, that's a whole nother level. Now, when you take it out from paper to a community of people that could keep you up to your word, that's like top notch, right? Because you're making it viral. You're making it known. Hey, everybody, I'm committed to myself. I'm tired of people determining my outcome. Today, I made the decision to go out there and make it happen for myself. This is highly important. Okay, so I want to congratulate you all for being here. I really do. And I want to give a special shout out to everybody that was here today, that listened to this information. And I want to encourage you, if there's somebody that you know that needs to hear this information, that this could change their lives, pass the wealth on. Because I gave this to you for free, I feel like they deserve to get it for free as well. Because you never know whose life you could change. So take this, run with it, make it happen for yourself. And once again, congratulations.
So that was, the mic dropped. You picked it back up, dropped it a few more times. And, a lot of times we think that our story is too far gone, right? We think that our life is too far to the left. We've gone too far away from the path in order for us to be able to come back and have success, come back and change some things, come back, change. That's that word that scares everybody, because we're like, oh, we're too old to change. We're too set in our ways to change. And so I want to know from you, what was one of those ways that you were able to combat that feeling of, I can't change because of this has always happened, or I can't change because this is where I came from.
So one of the big things, like the lifestyle that I grew up having, uh, you know, at the end of the day, people would look at it in a negative way. I was dealt bad cards, but I look at it as a blessing. You know what I'm saying? If I did not grow up the way I grew up, I would not be here today doing whatever it is that I'm doing today. Okay. Now, I've honestly never had that issue. I've always been very bold. I've always been the type of person to throw myself out there and just make it happen. I've always been that just always has been part of my personality. But honestly, what I can say is that we are all unique in our own ways. We all have our flaws. We all have our weaknesses. We all have our strengths. Okay. We all balance each other out. You are a blessing, whether you believe it or not. So if you want to make it happen for yourself, don't hesitate to just go out there and make it happen. And it's going to be a growing process. We all grow in order to achieve whatever it is that we want to achieve. And for those that are currently facing that right now in today, or that are going to currently face that in the future, don't allow for change to scare you. Because what's on the opposite side of fear? Because at the end of the day, it comes back to fear. What's scaring you to change? That scare is another word for fear, right? What's scaring you to change? And what's on the opposite side of that fear? Greatness, excellence, abundance, a new lifestyle, something that you have great imagination for. But even beyond that, God has amazing plans for all of us. But if you're going to allow for that fear, for that change to stop you in your tracks, you're limiting yourself. You're limiting what God has in store for you.
And that speaks volumes. You definitely don't want to put any limitations on God. I can say that even with the summit, if I would have put limitations on him, we wouldn't have made it to this date.
You guys
there are so many things that happen behind the scenes, and you can get frustrated, and you got to think when you're working with so many different speakers, and especially you got language barriers, you got time. Because listen, we've had to deal with people being in the next day because they're in a different part of the world. And, it's that perseverance. It's that staying focused and saying, you know what, there is something coming out of this. There is something on the other side of this. We're going to see it out to completion. And it was so interesting. My team, they're like, I don't know how you stay so calm. I don't know how you do it. Because every time they come to me, they're like, Coach, such and such happened. This is what's going on. And I'm just like, okay, document it, smile, and move on. And they're like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that is. So it's interesting. It's amazing to be able to have that mindset, because things will happen. Even when we're on this path and things are starting to go right and things are starting to fall into place, you're still going to have something that happens that can kind of take you off track sometimes. And, what's that one thing that you would tell somebody, when that something happens to come and knock you off track? What's that first thing that you say to yourself?
stay committed. And I'm very hard on myself. I'm a hard individual, and that comes with a lot of discipline. Okay, but stay committed. And and the reason is because, like she said, like, no matter what, we're going to fall off path. We have all these visions. We have this thing that we want to hit, and we are going to fall off this path because we do not know what tomorrow brings. Right? You're driving to work. You don't know that you're gonna get a flat tire. You don't know that someone's gonna rear end you. You don't know that there's gonna be an accident ahead of you, and you're gonna be 30 minutes to an hour late to work. Right? We don't know these things, but what we can do is we can prepare in advance. So when those things come to us, we're like, oh, okay, it's fine. I know exactly how to get around it and how to get back on track. So never allow a situation or something that is happening in the moment pull you completely off track to where you're no longer laser focused. Get yourself back on track as fast as possible and go make it happen yourself. Stay committed.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So let everyone know where they can find you at on social media and how to get in contact with you.
Okay, so Facebook, you could look me up at Anthony L. Padilla. I'm gonna spell my last name for you because a lot of people get it confused. It's Padilla. Anthony L. Padilla. That's Facebook and LinkedIn. And then on Instagram, you could find me at Anthony Motivates. Just simply together, Anthony Motivates. And I will go ahead and put the links below, so it could be a lot easier for you guys, so you guys don't have to, type in, because there's a lot of Anthony's and there's a lot of Padillas out there.
Guys, this has been a phenomenal day, 24. We got 4 days. I was like off by a day. I don't know how I missed a day. Don't judge me. It's a non-judgment zone. But 4 days, guys, and the countdown has been real. We still have another panel coming up tomorrow. Then we had the team panel over the weekend. It's been phenomenal. And all I can say is, I appreciate each and every person that comes onto the platform, because they don't have to do it. They said yes to an opportunity. And, I always speak that they're going to get a return on the investment that they make into this opportunity. But guess what? Even greater things are coming. And that's the biggest piece of it, is that we never know where it's going to lead us or where it's going to take us. So with that, I want to say again, thank you so much, Anthony, for being on the platform. Those of you who are catching this via the replay, don't forget bit.ly/World Voice Summit, so that we could be in the Zoom room with us, as well as make sure that you get those replays, bit.ly/World Voice 2019. With that being said, guys, I appreciate you. And until next time, don't forget to press it out. See ya.